Hey, welcome to the Ads with the Twang podcast. I'm your host, Ben Blackman, and on this episode, we're going to talk about why your Facebook ad performance stinks, and it's probably not what you think it is. Here comes episode 117. The Ads with the Twang podcast is dedicated to helping you create simple ads and smart strategies to grow your online business. Get ready, because you're going to love this. All right, welcome to episode 117. Let's get into it. So everyone complains, I say everyone, a lot of people complain that their ads just aren't working, and they blame all kinds of things for that, everything you can think of. But the real reason doesn't have anything to do with most of that stuff. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is what nobody else really talks about. So first of all, this is what I always hear about Facebook ads if they're not working. It's like, oh, the algorithm changed. The algorithm, okay. So, or a couple years ago, the new iOS update killed Facebook ads, so they don't work anymore. Or, CPMs are just too high. And so these are real issues. I just want to make that clear. We all face them. I can certainly point out things that are different, that aren't working as well, and that kind of stuff. But there's really a bigger reason why ads aren't working for most people. And it really is this simple. There's not enough volume, meaning you're not getting enough traffic, enough eyeballs on your ads to determine what's working and what's not. So you're making big decisions with little numbers, and we all do it. I mean, I've done it. Meaning, you had 10 clicks on it. Well, 10 clicks is not enough. It's just not enough to figure it out most of the time. Okay, you need 100 clicks, right? But we turn them off because it didn't work, and we're not at all willing, most people, to go negative on their ad spend when they see they didn't get what they wanted after 10 clicks. They're not willing to go negative any further to figure it out, and that's usually not a good thing. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what you can do, but let me tell you why volume is king, so to speak. So most people just aren't running enough ads, and I do talk about doing the $5 a day method, and you're running one ad, and that's all good. But what I'm really talking about in this part is when we're really trying to generate revenue, significant revenue. So we're spending a fair amount of money, and it's a lot to us, but we're not really spending enough because we're not getting enough traffic. So one ad with a small budget isn't enough for Facebook to help you optimize. Now, it may work to some extent, right? So you may get some sales, or you might get, over time, like you may not get consistent ones, but over time you might, or you might get, consistent calls or leads or whatever it is you're looking for. But Facebook doesn't know enough to help you get more people like that. So if you just raise the budget, it wouldn't necessarily have helped you quite as much as if you're running already at a higher budget. And most people, they give up way too early on their ads because they can't stick it out long enough. And I get it. But it's kind of like, eating at a restaurant and judging the whole restaurant after one bite of one thing. That it doesn't work that way. So Facebook's algorithm needs data to optimize. It just does. So more ads, more data, better targeting. That's how it works. I mean, that's just how it works. So using more variations in your ads is finding out what actually works. Success is just a numbers game. That's all it is. Even the pros don't know what's gonna work before they test it. I mean, they think they do. We all, we come up with this great copy or this awesome video or image or whatever it is, and we think it's going to work, but the reality is we don't know that until we put it out there and because the final word comes from the people taking action, the potential clients or customers or whatever. If they don't like it, it doesn't matter what we think. So they're really the only ones that get a vote. All right. So let me tell you what most people tend to do wrong. They run one or two ads, and when they don't work, or at least work in a manner that they think they should be working, right? They give up. They stop them, whatever. They spent $10 a day and they expected way too many results. That happens all the time. And that's largely what happens when people boost posts, right? So Facebook's trying to give you this dopamine hit of, oh, you got this much engagement, right, from boosting a post, and that all sounds good and feels good, but it doesn't change your bank account, right? But Facebook knows that it's an easy way for you to get a quick win and spend more money. But to me, that's very short-sighted thinking. Now, there is some benefit to boosting posts, but we're not going into that on this episode. But you have to do it very strategically. You can't just boost a post and expect things to happen. That's not really the way it works at all, unfortunately. The other thing is people they make tiny tweaks instead of testing substantially different approaches. So that's always a big thing. Is should you change one little thing in an ad? Right? Like the headline, just change the headline and test it. And you can do that, and I do that. But we're spending huge amounts of money. And I'm not saying that you're not or you won't, but we spend huge amounts of money, so we can do that. When your budget's a little smaller, you need to make a radical change, not a little change. So a completely different ad and test the completely different ones against each other. And you keep doing that until you get enough data to understand what's really working. And then you can go down to the micro level. Okay, then you can start tweaking out the little things. And that's really what tends to work. Now, I will tell you this. There's people who are against that. I know experts that, preach a different kind of tune to that and say they want to do it this way. And the fact is, everything works. My method works. Their method works. It all works. But what doesn't work is changing. That's, if you're going to commit to a method, commit to the method. And if you're not, then don't try it at all. That's just my suggestion. All right, before I get into how to fix the volume problem, let me just invite you to subscribe, please. I would like that. Okay. All right. Subscribe, hit the button, and subscribe. And if you're listening to a podcast, would love it if you gave me a great review. If you're going to give me a crappy review, just, email me and tell me I suck or something, but don't leave me a crappy review. But if you like it, just leave me a good one. All right. So here's how to fix your volume problem. You typically want to test at least 3 to 5 completely different ad concepts. Okay, and the way you can do that is, and what I mean by that is you could do, let's just say you're going to do 3. Well, you could do a video, a carousel, and just a straight image ad as far as that creative type stuff goes. And then you could have completely different copy in all 3 from 3 different angles and see which one works the best. I mean, that's a simple thing to do. So you basically have 3 sets of copy, 3 different creatives, and the 3 sets of copy are all coming from a different angle. They're not the same angle. So you run multiple variations simultaneously. Like you want to go ahead and do them at the same time. And you commit to spending enough to get through, if you can, you want to commit to spending enough to get through Facebook's learning phase. And their learning phase, if you're not familiar, is so when you first submit an ad, the learning phase is when Facebook's rotating through the audience and the creative and stuff, trying to figure out which one's going to get you the best result at the lowest possible cost. At least that's what it's supposed to be doing. So the learning phase is doing that. Now, Facebook will tell you need 50 conversions. Let's just say it's a lead magnet, 50 signups for your lead magnet for it to do that. The reality of it is sometimes it needs 50, sometimes it needs 20, sometimes it needs 70. That's just kind of an arbitrary number that they have. I mean, I'm sure there's some data behind that, but sometimes. But you can see it in the system. The learning phase will be there, and then it'll complete the learning phase. So then you're going to use the data to make informed decisions about which of those ads are performing better, right? And you'll see it clearly. You'll see one way outperform the others. Head and shoulders, one will be the best. And so you want to build off that one. And so then you try other creatives and you test other ones and so forth. And so that's really how it works. You just need more volume. You just need more traffic. You don't want to look at it and say, oh, I got 10 clicks and nobody signed up, so it doesn't work. That's not right. That's not right at all. You need 100 clicks, 1,000 clicks. You need a lot of people to take a look at it because these audiences, they're big. The audiences are big. Even if you have a relatively small audience that you're targeting, That could be millions and millions of people. And so there's segments inside those audiences that once they start to see your ad, you'll start seeing a bunch of conversions. But the problem is that in the beginning, Facebook doesn't know that. They don't know which people are the ones that are actually going to convert. So that's what we're trying to figure out. Oh gosh, I hope that made sense to everybody. And I hope you get it when I say, hey, you need more traffic, you need more volume. So anyway, I've really enjoyed it because I do like talking about that. I used to talk about volume all the time, and volume, frankly, is one of the easiest fixes that you can use for your Facebook ads. It's just more volume means you got to spend more most of the time, that's what it does mean. And if you're not getting great results, it's hard to do that in the beginning. So make sure that you have the budget to do it, but get more volume and get your creative out there and test some different things and see what works. All right, I appreciate it. I'll catch you all on episode 118. Thanks for listening to the Ads with the Twang podcast. If you get a second, jump on over to my YouTube channel, Marketing with the Twang, and subscribe. You'll get all kinds of no BS business building help there. I'll see you next time.